retirement in 2019, he has not received any remuneration, yet he has been delivering services. Unknown gunmen have invaded Iseyin town in Oke-Ogun geopolitical zone of Oyo State and killed a former local government staff. The incident occurred at a petroleum station in the town, while the gunmen also abducted an attendant at the petroleum station. Eyewitnesses said the gunmen attempted to kidnap the owner of the petroleum station, but the owner was not around, while the deceased, identified as Anyala Dun, was attending a church service at a church near the scene of the incident, but had plugged his phone to charge at the petroleum station and was unfortunate to have gone to the petroleum station at the time the kidnappers arrived. It was learned that the deceased was shot during the incident and also shot the security officer at the petroleum station. Police Public Relations Officer of the State Police Command, Adewale Osifeso, proved to be unsuccessful at the time of filling his report on Thursday. Ekiti State Chief Magistrate Court has sentenced the 25-year-old man, Balogun Mujahid, to 3 years imprisonment with hard labor for stealing an Itel A50 phone valued at 98,000 naira while under community service within the court premises. Chief Magistrate Dolamu Babalabon also ordered the convict on Thursday to pay 130,000 naira as restitution to the primary complainants in the matter. Mujahid faced additional sentences in 2 other cases: 3 years imprisonment with hard labor with an option of a 220,000 naira fine on count 1 and 3 months imprisonment with an option of a 10,000 naira fine on count 2. While in another matter, Mujahid, who pleaded guilty to all charges, received a further sentence of 1 year and 3 months imprisonment without an option of fine in 2 other counts. Chief Magistrate Babalabon ruled that all claims are to run concurrently. Prosecuting the case, Inspector Sodiq Adeniyi told the court that Mujahid on October 15, 2024 at about 8:30 a.m. at the open court of the Chief Magistrate 6 Ado Ekiti, while serving community service, did steal an Itel A50 phone, property of one Mrs. Olushola Oluwatuyi. Nurses in Ondo State, under the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, have declared an indefinite strike starting Friday, January 31, 2025, over what they described as the government's neglect of their welfare. Addressing journalists in Akure, the state's capital, on Thursday, the state chairman of NANNN, Felix Orobode, lamented that despite the critical roles nurses play in the state's healthcare system, the government had failed to address their concerns. Orobode accused the government of handling nurses' welfare issues with levity, despite their immense contributions to healthcare delivery, stressing that nurses and midwives are the most available healthcare professionals across the state's 18 local government areas in many of the facilities. Nurses take on multiple roles, acting as doctors, pharmacists, health information officers, and even security personnel, particularly in general hospitals and health centers. The nurses also said, despite the ongoing brain drain caused by the Japa syndrome, they have remained committed to reducing morbidity and mortality in the state, adding that the government has refused to reward the sacrifices appropriately. Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has affirmed the proscription of the indigenous people of Biafra as a terrorist organization. The appellate court, in an unanimous decision by the 3-member panel led by Justice Hama Baka, affirmed the judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja, which outlawed the IPOB. The court held it found no reason to set aside the order the federal government got against the group, adding that the federal government acted lawfully by proscribing the organization whose activities threatened the nation's security and continued existence. It resolved all the issues against the IPOB and dismissed its appeal for want of merit. This is coming after the late former Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Abdul Kafarati had, in a ruling he delivered on September 15, 2017, outlawed the activities of the IPOB in Nigeria. The proscription order followed an ex parte motion the former Attorney General of Federation and Minister of Justice Mr. Abubakar Malami San filed on behalf of the federal government, while Justice Kafafati declared an illegal all activities of the group, particularly in the southeast and south-south regions of the country, and further restrained any person or group of persons from participating in any of the group's activities. Kano State Executive Council has approved the sum of 8.2 billion naira for the execution of 15 major projects across the state. Governor Abba Yusuf's spokesperson Sanusi Tofa, who disclosed this in a statement after the State Executive Council meeting, according to the statement, 2.7 billion naira was earmarked for the construction of classrooms blocks across all 44 local government areas, while 2.3 billion naira was allocated for the cost review of the dualization of key roads, including Government House roundabouts, Race Course Road, and Duola Hotel roundabouts. This also includes additional projects covering Nasarawa Hospital Road, Dawaki Road, and Lugard Road, while 1.8 billion naira was set aside for the remodeling of African House Conference Hall and consultancy services at the Government House. The statement also said 378.7 million naira was designated for the payment of foodstuff supplies to boarding schools for the first and second weeks of the ongoing second term, while 303.6 million naira was earmarked for the printing of security documents by the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting PLC for the Ministry of Land and Physical Planning. All Progressive Congress has condemned the Zamfara State House of Assembly decision to declare the seat of its minority leader Aliyu Ango Kagara APC Talata Mafara South vacant. A statement by the APC spokesman in Zamfara, Yusuf Idris, describes the Assembly's action as an abuse of office and a deliberate attempt to weaken the opposition in the legislature. The APC further criticized the Assembly for what it called an ongoing clampdown on opposition lawmakers, referencing the suspension of 8 members of the House in January 2024. According to the APC, the decision to declare Ango Kangara's seat vacant lacked constitutional backing and failed to follow due process, and warned that it might take legal actions against the Assembly over what it described as an infringement on the rights of its members. The APC also emphasized that many disciplinary action against lawmakers should follow due process and fair hearing, rather than what it termed blindfolded actions by the Assembly's leadership. You are watching The Transition on a television network. We return after this break. To stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is Transition on Atlantic Television Network. Now the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has expressed sadness over the deaths of at least 18 persons in an air accident in Washington, D.C., United States. This is coming after a passenger jet carrying 64 people crashed into Washington's Potomac River on Wednesday after colliding mid-air with a military helicopter near Ronald Reagan National Airport. The incident which occurred around 9 p.m. on Wednesday, resulted in the deaths of 18 persons and many injured. The Bombardier plane, operated by an American Airlines subsidiary, was approaching Reagan National Airport at around 9 p.m. after flying from Wichita, Kansas, when the collision happened. The aircraft involved was a PSA Airlines Bombardier CRJ-700 operating as an American Airlines flight, and a U.S. Army Sikorsky UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. According to the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, the plane carried 60 passengers and 4 crew members, while the military helicopter had 3 personnel on board. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has pledged to review complaints related to its recent public auction of forfeited vehicles after report of unsatisfactory experiences by some participants. The Commission acknowledged complaints ranging from issues with website accessibility, participants being shut out after submitting bids, and reports of inflated bid prices. In addressing the situation, EFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale, in a statement on Thursday, said the complaints arising from the exercise are unfortunate, and the online auction platform was intended to ensure seamless and transparent participation. The EFCC clarified that while it was involved in monitoring, it could not directly intervene in the auction due to its assignment to licensed auctioneers in compliance with Section 4, Subsection AB of the Proceeds of Crime Recovery and Management Act 2022 and Section 55 of the Public Procurement Act 2007. The Commission assured the public that it is awaiting a report from the auctioneers and will review legitimate complaints to ensure fairness. Federal government has donated 30 buys. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Lanre Issa Onilu, accompanied by the Oyo State Director of the agency, Olukemi Afolayan, made the official presentation of the check on behalf of the federal government at the Elebu in Ibadan residence of the late national hero on Thursday. This is coming after on September 4, 2023, President Bola Tinubu sent a government delegation led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Malagi, on a condolence visit where it pledged to give the late Nigerian hero a national burial and financial support to the family. The NOADG said the donation of 30 million naira to the family of renowned national flag designer was not to pay for the services of the late legend, but to support his family in appreciation for his contributions to the country, while one of the deceased sons, Akinwumi, expressed gratitude to Tinubu for the gesture. And now to some business reports. Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Oluyemi Kadoso, says the federal government has cleared the outstanding 7 billion naira foreign exchange backlog to various firms following a successful verification exercise by forensic auditors. Kadoso disclosed this at the launch of Nigeria's regulatory policy framework organized by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. The event, which was tagged the Regulators Forum, took place at the State House Conference Hall in Abuja. Addressing the audience, Kadoso explained that the bank was optimistic and clearance of the $7 billion backlog would ease the bottlenecks associated with the repatriation of funds by businesses, multinationals, and foreign investors, while the outstanding forex clearance took far longer than earlier anticipated. He said, in addressing foreign exchange liquidity liquidity constraints, decisive steps have been taken to clear outstanding $7 billion forex backlog to ensure that businesses, multinationals, corporations, and foreign investors can repatriate funds seamlessly. Nigeria Labour Congress says it would embark on a nationwide protest against the proposed 50% telecom tariff hike announced by the Nigerian Communications Commission on February 4, 2025. A communique signed by its national president, Joe Ajero, said the decision was taken at the National Administrative Council meeting at the NLC on January 29th. Similarly, civil society organizations have pledged their support for the nationwide protest, adding that failure to reverse the hike might result in a nationwide boycott of telecommunication services. This is coming after the federal government had approved a 50% increase, though the telecom operators requested a 100% increase. And in response to the development, the NLC rejected the hike, describing it as insensitive, unjustifiable, and a direct assault on Nigerian workers and the general populace already burdened by the worsening economic hardship. Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekpo, has lamented the low natural gas utilization among Nigerians, urging Spellat Energies and Producing Nigeria Unlimited to accelerate its natural gas delivery efforts for domestic use and exports. The minister lamented Nigeria's paradoxical situation as a major gas-endowed nation with alarmingly low natural gas utilization, stressing that operators like SEPNU should partner with the government to correct the trend. A statement by the minister's spokesman, Louis Iba, during a meeting with SEPNU's senior management led by the managing director, Mr. Dotun Isiaka, at the NNPC Towers in Abuja, said an opportunity was provided for SEPNU's leadership to brief the minister on their progress since taking over operatorship of assets from ExxonMobil in December 2024. With a focus on the gas component of the investment deal. Ekpo stressed on the government's commitment to promoting indigenous participation in the oil and gas sector, as well as driving economic growth through sustainable energy development and fostering a conducive environment for investment. Federal government has unveiled an ambitious energy access program aimed at transforming the nation's energy sector in its determination to close Nigeria's electricity gap, adding that the program would require $23.2 billion, of which $15.5 billion will be provided by the private sector. A statement by the spokesperson for the Minister of Power, Bolaji Tunji, revealed that the program, spearheaded by Minister Adebayo Adelebu, is designed to drive sector-wide transformation, and the initiative is a direct outcome of the recently concluded Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit held in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The two-day summit, which brought together African leaders, business executives, and development partners, was hosted by the government of Tanzania, the African Union, and the African Development Bank and the World Bank Group. It aims to accelerate electricity access for 300 million Africans by 2030. He also said the effort aligns with UN Sustainable Development Goal 7, which seeks to ensure universal access to modern energy services and would expand and improve clean cooking solutions for millions of Nigerians. Still ahead on international tidbits. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi has vowed to restore government authority in the eastern part of the country, which has been overrun by Rwanda-backed M23 rebels. Tshisekedi made the vow to seize control of the key city of Goma and is advancing southward, threatening to capture more territory. Tshisekedi's conflicts which has displaced over 500,000 people, while he snubbed a virtual summit convened by East African leaders, including Rwanda's President Paul Kagame. The summit called for a peaceful resolution and urged the Congolese government to engage directly with all armed groups, including the M23. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has condemned the chaotic handover of 7 hostages in freed Israelis were surrounded by an aggressive mob before being transferred to the Red Cross. Netanyahu demanded the mediators take immediate action to prevent a repeat of such incidents, stating that the safety of hostages must be guaranteed, adding that whoever to harm the hostages theirs will pay. This is coming after hostages include Israeli civilians Gadi Moses and asked to obstruct their release. 18 bodies have been recovered after a passenger jet carrying 64 people crashed into Washington Potomac River on Wednesday after colliding mid-air with a military helicopter. A massive search and rescue operation of both aircrafts. Washington Fire Chief Dr. Donnelly said emergency crews totaling about 300 people were working in extremely rough conditions and gave little indications they expected to find anyone alive. The Bombardier plane operated by an American Air Kansas when the collision happened. U.S. Army officials said the helicopter involved was a Black Hawk carrying 3 soldiers on a training flight, while the Federal Aviation Administration has ordered the grounding of all planes at Reagan National, stressing that the airport was not due to reopen until Thursday. This is coming after the last major fatal U.S. air accident in 2009 when Continental Flight 3407 from New Jersey to Buffalo, New York crashed and killed all 49 people abroad. And receive pay for 8 efforts to shrink and reform the U.S. government. In an email, his administration has asked almost all government employees to decide by 6 February whether they want to be part of the Fed resignation program that means them leaving their jobs no later than the end of September, and those who received the email have voiced confusion about the deal would mean in practice. The website of the U.S. Office of Personnel Management gives an outline of the plans, stating on a fax page that those who accept the deal are not expected to work, except in rare cases, adding that anyone who decides to quit will be exempt from the remainder of their contract from Trump's requirements that they work in the office rather than at home. The plan could save the government up to $100 billion and highlighted plans including a requirement that most employees in their offices 5 days a week. Police says father in Pakistan killed his teenage daughter after she uploaded what she considered to be inappropriate videos on the social media app TikTok. The man, said to be in his 50s, is treating the incident as a case of so-called honor killing. According to the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, over 1,000 women were killed in Pakistan by close relatives, fathers, brothers and sons in the pretext of saving family honor. Rights Body Amnesty International said the killers in most cases escape punishment because of a controversial Islamic clause in laws that allows relatives of the victims to pardon the perpetrator. Pakistan approved a law in 2016 to partially do away with the controversial clause, but that has not proved enough to stop the practice. Now to entertainment news. Nollywood actor and self-acclaimed cleric Neil Edochie has declared himself a hardcore traditionalist. This revelation comes as a surprise to many after he opened his own online church, the Salvation Ministry, last year. In a recent Instagram page, Edochie said he would never abandon the religion of his forefathers, strongly hinting that he has converted to the traditional religion. He claimed that fear of public opinion is causing Africans to abandon their original religions, which he said is built on truth, transparency, and fairness. In December, Yul Edochie had also claimed that many Nigerian pastors are actually called to be native doctors but abandoned their original calling because Westerners and the movie industry labeled native doctors as evil. Now into sports news. Tanzania head coach Hemed Suleiman Ali says his team will be ready for the Super Eagles and their other Group C opponents at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Former champions Tunisia and Uganda are the other countries in the group. The East Africans are the lowest ranked team in the group. Ali admitted it is a tough group, but insisted that they will fight hard to make it to the next round. The Tafia Stars will take on Nigeria in their opening fixture at the Complex Sportif des Fes on Tuesday, December 23. Italian giant Napoli have rejected a 65 million euro bid from Galatasaray for Nigeria striker Victor Osimhen. The Turkish giants attempted to make Osimhen's loan move permanent but fell short of the striker's 75 million euros release and joined Galatasaray on loan until the end of the season without an option to buy. But the Turkish club have a unique advantage in negotiations due to a compensation clause in the agreement. Should Osimhen move to another club in January, Galatasaray would be entitled to 6 million euros compensation, effectively raising his release clause to 81 million euros for other clubs during the winter transfer window, and the special arrangement means only Galatasaray can acquire the striker 75 million euros this month, with other clubs able to trigger the same release clause from summer. Osimhen's release clause was initially set at 130 million euros but was reduced last summer when he signed a new deal with Napoli before joining the group. The Nigeria international has been in scintillating form for the Turkish leaders, netting 16 goals and providing 5 assists in 20 appearances since his loan move. In December, Osimhen publicly committed to seeing out his loan spell to Galatasaray, and the striker's stroke has risen considerably following a stellar 2022-2023 season with Napoli, where he scored 26 goals to win the Serie A Golden Boot and help the Parthenope claim that first league title in over 3 decades. And that's the size of the package for today on Transition. Thank you for joining us. You can follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter at Attractive TV Net, on Facebook and YouTube at Attractive Television Network, on Instagram at Attractive TV 1. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Society Watch comes up shortly. Do not go away. I am Chidima Wadike.